Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. It's your brother Red Pill in the building representing KTL here with the blue pillar.
Peace, family.
Alright. And we have good news for the family. The weekend of August 25th to August 26th, we are going to be in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yes, indeed.
Shout out to Bad News. Shout out to all of the surrounding areas. We will be at the House of Consciousness in Norfolk, Virginia with Professor Griff,
yes,
doing a 2-day lecture. The first day will be a lecture with me, Blue Pill, Professor Griff. The second day will be a performance and a Q&A with Professor Griff, Red and the Blue. Norfolk, go to the Eventbrite, put in House of Consciousness or put Norfolk House of Consciousness .Eventbrite and get all of the information. August 25th to the 26th, Virginia, be in the building. All right?
Red and
Peace.
blue, purple like Prince.
Has applied that information and you chose to go to sleep, goddammit, if that person is supreme and you not. You're just sleepy. You just have.
I have to say this about my sons. Red pill, blue pill, and KTRC3. A mother couldn't have, and a father couldn't have, or a family couldn't have a better set of sons. Because, no, really. And that's not to say these guys are typical. They're not angels. They're like.
We cross the Pacific, Atlantic is ours. The force of the mistake, the planet is ours. Mechanical powers that slanted to sour. Botanical waters, we planted the flowers. An hour, the hands and empower. More diesel than plants to the sour. More lethal than grams of the powder. Expanding my power. No people programming my hours. Finest in traffic with traffickers. Trafficking finest of fabric. Designers is African. Shrines is Arabic. 24 Arabic. 24 cabbage. 42 savages. Oh, we some savages. Slaves to the lavish shit. Say we them Africans. Pay to the papyrus. Age of the activists. Waving the magic stick. Ways of the Nazareth. Raising the valorous. Red stones on my red throne. Red throne at these red bones. In a red robe with the red robe. Fancy probe when them heads roll. With the blue steel on the blue moons. Hot as blue flames doing blue shrooms. Got the blueprints leaving blues clues. All this blue monies that I blew through. I am a king. I am a scholar. I am from royalty. I am T'Challa. Wakanda forever. Killmonger forever. I'm true to Shambhala. I'm new to Kabbalah. The ink of a scholar worth more than the blood of a martyr. Worth more than the drugs in the Carter. The sword that can cut through the armor. The Lord that can crush you through karma. It's such a dishonor. Unplugged from the matrix with digital pills. Paid all my dues with indigenous bills. Fuck all the frivolous thrills. Bitch, I got bridges to build. Bridges to fill. Pre-Gargamel, I got midgets to kill. City of God like I've been to Brazil. Agendas to fill. Bricks in the steel. If you enter my feeling, I set you a swill. Red stones on my red throne. Red throne at these red bones. In a red robe with the red robe. Fancy probe when them heads roll. With the blue steel on the blue moons. Hot as blue flames doing blue shrooms. Got the blueprints leaving blues clues. All this blue money that I blew through. Up in them ganja, we fucking up comers. Sacred geometry, face of anomalies. Fixing idolatry, kissing on Halloween. Racing economy, great trigonometry. Killer biting me, switching philosophy. Ancient and sacristy, freaking the sodomy. Even apology, ancient neutrality. Fuck all the drama, let's fuck up some planets. 1680 acting with fucking Madonna. Love for the genre, I bust on my llamas. Fucking piranhas and words of Killmonger. Bury that sea with the fucking piranhas. Selling them dope like you fucking Obama. We selling them dope like we fucking Osama. Places and bitches is call them Madonna. Adopted the twins from hotels in Rwanda. Red stones on my red throne. Red throne at these red bones. Red roads with the red road. Fancy probe with them hits roll. With the blue steel on the blue moons. Hot as blue flames doing blue shrooms. Got the blueprints leaving blues clues. All this blue money that I blew through.
Yes. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Welcome to Melanin Mondays. This is your brother Red Pill in the building. You already know what it is. We are here on this Tuesday afternoon doing our Melanin Monday broadcast. So many things have been going down. So many things were happening yesterday. We were not able to do the stream, but fret not. We in the building today. Shout out to everybody that's on the stream with us right now, live. Salute. Peace to you and yours. You know what I mean? The song that you just heard, that song is called Twin. off of Twin the album. Look out for Twin the movie episode 1 to be premiering very soon, maybe the end of the month. We're gonna give you a date, definitely. It might be on my daughter's birthday, September the 4th, Bella's. My daughter Wisdom Bella's birthday. But I'll let you know. I just came from editing, from watching the edits yesterday, sitting in and watching them do the magic. Like I said, this is not a video. This is not some shit we shot on a Canon. This is not a music video. This is a movie. Twin the album is a soundtrack. It's not a CD. It's not a double CD. It's a soundtrack, family. It's a double CD soundtrack. Twin the soundtrack. Twin the movie. I'm not even gonna say anything because it's not worth even talking about. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna just show you. So look out for that. It's gonna be real serious. The ritual that involved doing that movie or that short film that we put together, that we have a film crew. Shout out to the film crew. Shout out to the brother International P, who's the director. He brought a professionalism to the table. If anybody was present at the video shoot, they'll be able to back that up, that the brother brought a professionalism to the table that I've been missing in my interactions in a very long time. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to completing high level projects such as shooting film, because you have to be able to play your part. Everybody has to play their part. When you're shooting a film, there's a time for each part, for each scene. There's locations, like everything has to work cohesively or the magic will not take place. You know what I'm saying? Even when shit starts falling apart, the magic gets to working and it helps put things cohesively back together. But if there's someone in there that's sabotaging shit, if they're on their quote unquote proverbial cipher in the Matrix type shit, because cipher represented the element that you find in what are known as snitches, or what you find in people who sabotage movements from within. So cipher in the Matrix was the person who, you know, we find nowadays, like there's people who they call agents, or people who have come into the community and they've sabotaged the community by sacrificing, by doing dumb shit themselves. But you know, they've added on to confusion. They may be seen as agent provocateurs. That's the cipher energy. You feel what I'm saying? That's the cipher energy. That's that Agent Smith kind of energy, you know. And that's very prevalent all in society. It's prevalent. That's what the coons will be. The coons are ciphers. The coons are the ones who would always, you know, sell out Zion to eat steak or sirloin inside of the big house rather than eat the slop on the field, or rather than eat ramen noodles on the field, or rather than, you know, drink smoothies instead of drinking Douce. These are the ones who wanted to follow their desires. They were slaves to their desires, so they were entranced by the allure and the illusion of the physical world, even after unplugging from the Matrix. You gotta peel back the layers of what I'm saying here. This fucking coat could fit on so many people. This hat that I'm knitting right now, this crown of thorns that I'm putting together, you could put this on many people's heads in many different places of life. So you've already unplugged and you've gotten out of the Matrix. So you've come into consciousness. So you've come into an organization. So you've come into a gang. So you've come into a movement. So you've come into whatever. You knew when you signed up that this shit was going to be a bumpy road, because the road to success is not a straight and narrow path. It is what? It's one of many curves, many bends, many breaks, many dead ends. You understand what I'm saying? Many reroutes on the GPS. If anybody ever told you that it's a straight path, they're lying to you and they're stealing your lunch money. Facts. So those of us who sign up for this journey, for this struggle, for the edification of not just your name, not just your memory, but your intellectual property, but your whole, just your whole story, your mythos in the now. Do you know that takes sacrifice? Do you know you got to be willing to do, you got to be willing to go through whatever fire that you have to go through, because that's what it's going to, that's the resistance is where the power is in. So there are people who can't stand that pressure. There are people who can't stand that kind of adversity, and then they fold and they break. Remember when they was bending the spoon in the Matrix? You know what I'm saying? Remember when the little girl was bending the spoon? Well, these niggas are plastic spoons. They get bent by the allure of the flashing lights, by the heat that comes off of the flashing lights. It's bending these niggas like spoons. You know what I'm saying? So people's will are weak and they will sell you out. So inside of many movements, we find ciphers, what are known as viruses inside of the matrix, who let in the agent Smiths. That could be translation the feds. That could be the military. That could be the motherfucking haters. That could be the KKK. That could be Becky and them. You know how you have some of our people who are Uncle Tom types, but you have some people who are like, remember the movie Surrogate, where the person who was acting like he was the conscious leader, I think it was Ving Rhames, and he was playing the role of a revolutionary. He was like the leader of the resistance. Later on, the plot twist in the movie comes to find out at the whole time he was working for the other side. He was a clone himself. So that's what you have taking place. I mean, the shit is deep, bro. The shit is deep. But this is a journey that is only built for Cuban links. You know what I'm saying? This is this is not for the weak-hearted. So we have to banish those people from our cipher, because Cipher in the Matrix, he was the one who helped the downward destruction of the Matrix. His one action, his one decision, by allowing Agent Smith, by allowing to bring an outside enemy, by allowing to bring an outside, even if you welcomed other people to come and observe this movement, even if you bring other people into this movement and infiltrate it, you have now started the wheels turning to do what? Self-destruct something that is greater than you. And if you look around consciousness right now and you don't see that, I don't know what the fuck you were looking at. I don't know what eyes you niggas are looking through. It's on many different fronts, not just one person. This ain't pin the tail on a donkey, my nigga. This is some shit that's occurring on many different places. It occurred in hip hop. They let the gatekeepers of hip hop allowed hip hop to be commercialized. So hip hop went from being conscious to woke. Remember, hip hop, when the gatekeepers was holding down hip hop, black men were calling themselves gods. Black men were calling black women goddesses and empresses. They were wearing Africa medallions. They were wearing RBG. They were calling white people devil. They were doing everything that you find us doing in this cycle right now. They were repeating all of the behaviors that you are witnessing in the rise of what is known as the golden era of consciousness, or the golden age of consciousness, where conscious MCs are just, you know, they roar with it. They speaking the facts. They telling the truth. During the time of the quote unquote golden age of hip hop, when the small hats, right, the people with the money, the people who helped commercialize hip hop, they took hip hop from being a 9.0, then they stepped on it, then they stepped on it, then they stepped on it, and they continue to step on it to where the shit has fentanyl in it. And now people are ODing on it because the hip hop is like the bad dope. It's bad dog food. It's not God food. The shit is dog food right now. And it has people overdosing on it. It's an opiate. Henceforth, why all of the children and the people who are coming up, the newer generation, are going to inherit the motherfucking bottom of the barrel of a lot of things, of the crux of what it is that is being created, or what it is that's being manifested and whatnot. They're the newest ones that are coming in. So you're seeing it expressed in them in a more expressive way. You're seeing it come out in them more than it's coming out in older people who are good at hiding shit or disguising shit. You dig what I'm saying? So these opiates that they're addicted to, it's only a reflection of the opiates that are coming from the music, the tonalities and the frequencies, the manipulation of a lot of things that have come before the motherfucker got put on Xannies and Percocets and Mollies and lean and whatnot. So they let the gatekeepers let the money come into hip hop, and they commercialized it. and then they made it about bitches and hoes, and then they handed it over to gangster rap. Henceforth, 30 years later, you find ourselves where we're at. And if you can objectively sit back, not finger pointing, objectively sit back and take a survey of hip hop and where it's at right now, and how the message has changed. If you could compare the top five, the 5 years of the 80s, 85 all the way to 90, if you go into their billboards, or if you go and get all of the top radio hits of that era and then play them against the music of today, the top 10 or the top 20 of today, you tell me what the difference in the frequencies or the difference in the overall message that you can spot. I would say that there's been a devolution and whatnot. I would say that there's been a breakdown. I would say that there's been there should have been progression to levels that none of us could be able to calculate. If you're talking about hip hop 30 years later, it's 44, right? Hip hop is 44, right? So if you're talking about 30 years of hip hop, if you play the shit from the 80s, Lottie Dottie, motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Let's get into it. The symphony, huh? If you play the symphony, if you play all of Big Daddy Kane's hits, if you play Nobody Beats the Biz, if you play Public Enemies, Fight the Power, if you play Night of the Living Bassheads, 911 is a joke, you know what I'm saying? If you play Who You Calling a Bitch, UNITY, Queen Latifah, all of Run DMC when they was cooking, Run DMC is hard as hell. I mean, LL Cool J, Slick Rick's whole catalog, Hey Young World, A Teenage Love. You could even get into the early 90s when the MCs was really cooking and whatnot. Rakim, compare all of Rakim's from when he started cooking in the 80s all the way up into the 90s. Listen, my melody, I ain't no joke. Now compare that to who you niggas are trying to label. You went as far as to try to label little niggas icons. You didn't even say legend anymore. You niggas are trying to get over with icon labels, right? So you give me the top 20 of the artists of the niggas that you rooting for right now and compare the two. That's how you measure greatness. It don't have to be personal. You know what I mean? I look at the new generation as being ultra uber talented. The only thing is I'm watching their evolution, and some of them amongst that lot, you know what I mean? They have a future, like Lil Baby, even though I went in on the Lils and whatnot, maybe he just might grow up and be Baby, but that's my guy right there. Like, I see something in him, and I think that he got something that's, you know, when he talks about the pain in the hood as well, when he gets a little more political and he passes the threshold of woke into consciousness, he'll have a humongous effect. I said the same thing about Meek Mill. Did you guys just hear Stay Woke by Meek Mill recently? Huh? Did that not come into fruition? We talked about Meek Mill going street conscious, or what is known as woke, 3 years ago, before he even was with Nicki Minaj. He wouldn't have ever thought that was going to be the case. But here we find ourselves in these days and times where not only Meek Mill is claiming that he's part of the woke movement, because I'm telling you, I'm drawing comparisons. It's showing you how the same thing that happened in hip hop was conscious. There was a street conscious movement. They were talking about Malachi Z. York in most of their rhymes. Farrakhan's name was being thrown out there like people are throwing around Bobby Hemmett and Valentine and Master Teachers, and you know, and like Farrakhan's name still is being thrown out there. To be honest with you, like, his fucking run is ridiculous. But it was hardcore in that era. The potential of where black people were going around. If y'all wasn't there, ask somebody who was there. Most, you know what I mean? Ask somebody who was participating, because if you lived in different regions, you probably didn't know what was going on. You wasn't on the ground. But if you was in New York, if you was in the South, if you was on parts of the West Coast, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, if you was tapped in regardless, let me not go there. If you was tapped in, if you was strapped in, I'm strapped in, you know the magic that was being cooked. So Rick Rubin, Russell Simmons, who sold it him and Rick Rubin were the gateway and the doorway. Rick Rubin, who is a master Kabbalist. Rick Rubin, who is a Crowley worshiper. Rick Rubin would be the spirit cooker. Russell Simmons would be the person, the gateway in which they go through and infiltrate. He had vices back then, cocaine and homosexuality, I think, and womanizing, amongst other things. He's the gateway. He's the one who they come through. You understand? They introduce y'all. They bring out, you know, all of the Run DMC. The Run DMC thing merges with Aerosmith. That's the first time that heavy metal, rock and roll, and rap comes together. You know what I mean? Rick Rubin goes and creates Deaf America. Deaf America goes and gets Sir Mix-a-Lot. Sir Mix-a-Lot comes out with Pumps in the Rump, Pumps in the Rump, all of that booty shaking shit over in Seattle and whatnot. So his name, the name of Rick Rubin's new label, he got rid of he left Def Jam and made Deaf America, like Deaf America, Deaf America. And I identify Rick Rubin, Liar Cohen, who is the Israel Mossad, Liar Cohen, Master Wizard. You know what I mean? These are some of the names. These are some of the people who are responsible for a lot of the stuff that you're seeing, the taking over of the culture, the denigration, the degeneration of the culture, the robbing of the proliferation. You niggas talk about what they over there doing in the De Beers mines and with the coltan and whatnot. Why don't y'all talk about what they did over here to the Bronx? How them niggas came into hip hop and mined it for all of his precious diamonds and threw you niggas 2 cents a day, like you little like you Abu Bakari and them over there in the motherfucking coltan and the diamond mines. That's what they giving you hip hop, 2 cents off of a $20 album, niggas. You feel me? That's how they doing, niggas. And there's a cabal that's responsible for that. Look, we're gonna get into some stuff today. I'm gonna read some stuff from from these articles and whatnot. One article is about the age of secrecy and covert control. We're gonna get into some of the mechanics of what is going on. We have to understand what the fuck is going on with our people and what's being done through the entertainment industry, not just music, the whole cabal. I'm understanding the power of film every day more than I did the day before. And I speak about that. I will continue to speak about it and inform and try to, enlighten the people out there to the shit that I'm witnessing and I'm waking up to. Okay. Methods for control of the Negro mind, soul, and body. Right. Shout out to my brother Willie, the Minister of Information out there in 2/5. He gives me these information packets every weekend, damn near. You know what I mean? And I'm able to enrich my mind with information that I can share. This shit right here, though. This one is deep. This one is deep. This is right on time. Let me not even wait. Let me just get right into this shit, okay? All right. During the 18th century, fear pervaded the life of every group of people in American colonies. Let me repeat that, okay? This is the preface for an event that I'm having in August. If anybody gets mad that I'm having an event, go and fucking kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Dip for my life. Don't ever have a problem with me and my brother pulling up. If we pull up to the motherfucking moon and do a lecture, you should respect that. You know what I mean? We don't get out enough. If I had it my way, I would touch every fucking 50 states before the year ended. So if we have the opportunity to leave this grid in New York and leave the post and navigate to the grids, to sacred land, to talk to sacred people, to see them face to face, because remember, this relationship that we have right here, this is not a complete relationship. This is not a reciprocal relationship, because I get to talk into the phone. You get to see me. I don't get to see you. I don't get to meet you. We don't get to build. We don't get to break bread. All right, we're gonna get right into it. The methods for control of the Negro mind. Oh, God. Still in that retrograde, y'all. I gotta bear with this shit. Motherfucking phones jumping off the damn thing by themselves. So it is retrograde, so it's gonna be funny technical stuff going on. So we'll just ride through the wave. But I'm gonna read you an excerpt of this article. This article is a preface to a lecture coming up in Baltimore, Maryland, entitled Fear of a Black Planet Part 2. It's an installment. What is an installment, Red Pill? An installment is an ongoing lecture series. It's an organic installment lecture series, which will one day be cataloged in its entirety and be part of an archive, a historical archive. Me, Professor Griff, and Blue Pill, we've been doing a series entitled Fear of a Black Planet for about 10 years right now. The first one we did was in Atlanta, Georgia, Atlantis, in 2009. Okay, right there in Little 5 Points. So we're going to be doing an installment in Baltimore, Bodymore, a murder capital of the United States of America. We're going to be talking about the media manipulation of the Black mind, body, and soul, right? We're going to be talking about the media and music manipulation of the Black mind and soul. And then the next day, we're going to be doing a lecture in Capitol Heights at a restaurant called Everlasting Life. We're going to be doing a presentation entitled The Enemy Decoded, Preparing for Victory. The Enemy Decoded, Preparing for Victory. So I'm going to read you an excerpt for some of the information that we're going to be sharing. This is going to be August 25th and the 6th for the Baltimore dates. And we'll be in Norfolk, Virginia, the 17th and the 18th. All right. The methods for control of the Negro mind, soul, and body. This here, let me preface this article. This came out in 1957. J. Reuben Sheeler, Sheeler. The newspaper was the Negro History Bulletin, volume 21, number 3. During the 18th century, fear pervaded the life of every group of people in the American colonies. The fear of the master class that it might not be able to retain its control of the colonies was ever present. Do they talk about this? Do they show us movies, or do we get depictions, even in college, even in grade school, whenever they introduce you to what is known as the slave narrative? It is an aspect of the nigger factory. It creates what is known as the American nigger. All right. The slave narrative is a program. The slave narrative is malware. The slave narrative is a curse. Okay. Why is it a curse? Because it's not given to you from the perspective of what it's supposed to be given to you from. It's removed of all kind of information. It's watered down. It's a lot of deception, technology, fables, and all kind of other things interwoven into the narrative. They don't tell you that you had these motherfuckers on their toes. They don't tell you that that these colonies and whatnot were scared to death because they were getting banged on from every corner of the Americas that they turned. The fear of the master class that it might not be able to retain its control of the colonies was ever present. Despite their intermittent friendly relations with the Indians, the slave-holding planters, you know planters nuts, the niggas be eating planters nuts. Well, the slave holders were called planters because they were planting tobacco and cotton and whatnot. Agriculturists, agriculture. So their culture is not called, their agriculture is tied into what is known as slavery or indentured servitude. Okay. Their fear of combination of the white servant class. Listen to this. Their fear of combination of the white servant class. You know them in a modern day term as white trash, rednecks, white servant class. The free Negroes, right? The white servant class, the free Negroes, and the slaves was responsible for certain concessions to each group. Let me read that again. The fear of combination of the white servant class, the free Negroes, and the slaves was responsible for certain concessions to each group, meaning that because these Europeans feared each different group differently, they had to give them concessions, meaning that they had to basically do what? Allow these niggas civil rights. Of that, it would be considered like how they gave niggas civil rights. There's concessions. You know what? Y'all could come and eat with us. You know what? Matter of fact, fuck it. Y'all could come and sit in front of the bus with us. You know? Maybe you could go to school with us as well. Oh my goodness, no. Lord have mercy. Oh God, Jesus, Lord, Jesus, talk to me. Take the wheel, take the wheel. Like all of that shit. They'll give you, so they're basically throwing you peanuts. You understand? Concessions. Popcorn. You go to the movies, it's concessions. So they'll give you little small victories to appease you, because they know that if all of y'all got together and banged on them together, they could fall. So they deal with each person on each different level. So in America now, these different groups, every little group, LBGT, they're appeasing to them. Mexicans, even though they putting them little niggas in cages and whatnot, they're still appeasing to them. That's a form of, remember, you're dealing with Romans. So Romans dominate you, and then they create policy, and that's how they build relationships with other indigenous cultures, through domination. So they go in, they lock a whole bunch of them up, they throw them in dog kettles and whatnot in the old Toys R Us, right? You know what I mean? And they're splitting up babies and whatnot, kidnapping them, selling them off, and all of these things, trading them. You know what I mean? And then the other part of the subservient class, or the class of Mexicans who are willing to bend or to do anything to not have their children taken from them, that's when they basically lock them in. So it's a domination tactic that's taking place right now. So you shouldn't even be falling. That hasn't, why would you even put your energy into that if you don't know what they're doing? It's a form of warfare. It's a soft war. Okay. It was an old British ruling technique to keep each group separate and under control. Did I just say that? It said it was an old British ruling technique to keep each group separate and under control. So wherever you go, the British ruled. There's an old British technique still at play even when they leave. You go to Jamaica, the old British ruling technique. Remember, there's a technique at play. So it's keeping everybody separate. So this town don't like that town. That parish don't, you know what I mean? Like this hood don't like that. The Christians don't like these people. The Pentecostal don't like the Baptists. The Magaman don't like the fat people. You know what I'm talking about? The niggas who are down with the dagger in, they don't like tenderonis. Like, it's all of these, the bleaching, the mandem that bleach, the people that bleach their skin, they don't like heavily melanated skin. They don't like, when melanin is popping. All of these British techniques of separation, because do what? You weaken the people when you separate them. So remember, take a toll of everywhere where the British have conquered or imperialized. They have that old British, there's a technique at play. The planter class guaranteed listen to this. The planter, this is how you get what are known as white people. Listen to how white people were created. I'm giving you niggas cloth right now. The planter class guaranteed certain low status recognition to the servant class with special assurances that the slave would remain below its status, and that the free Negro would never be its equal before the law. With certain revisions, this whole system of control still pervades the South. Not to retain slavery, but segregation and keeping the nigga in his place. They said Negro. I say nigga. Because the Negro, people are like, oh, they don't call us colored anymore, beloved. They don't call us Negro anymore, beloved. They call us black. Nigga. Those different brands are an aspect of the dissension or the devolution of a people. So they were getting away with Negro or colored, but it's descending. It's not like they're naming you something more powerful. You're black, now you're a nigger with an ER. Now you're really a nigga. Not never ignorant, getting cold goals accomplished type of nigga. A nigga, a nigga, a knuckle dragger. So it's all in the name. So you was even more popping as a Negro, my nigga. You were making more moves when you were colored. How about that, my nigga? You were making more moves. National, the Garvey movement, the Negro advancement, the Negro, they were making moves. There's 1,800. There's a motherfucking inventors list of about 100 plus Negroes that were inventors in the 1800s. What are you niggas talking about? What have you niggas created? Fuck is you saying? You know what I'm talking about? Niggas are getting dumber as they put these brands on us, as they give us these names. I say nigga all day, but you know what I'm saying, nigga, is never ignorant, getting goals accomplished. And if I call you a nigga with the ER, it's because you're acting like one. And your frequency is that of a knuckle dragger. You're vibrating on a frequency where you're the living dead. So it doesn't even matter. You're not even living. I could call you anything. You're a well-dressed cadaver. You know what I'm talking about? And until you live, you are operating under the frequency of the evils. Flip backwards is the evils. Like Young Hova tried to tell you niggas. You know what I mean? So once you start living again, we call you different things. But when you're inside of the deaf culture, the underworld, when you're inside of your grave, my nigga, you know, you're what does nigga stand for? Negro stands for death. Negro, what does Negro and Necro, all of that? What is Hiram Abiff? Buried in a shallow grave. Negro is the necro. It's the deaf. You niggas is functioning on the deaf frequency. You're into the deaf culture. You're taking death. Fuck a penitentiary chance. Nigga, you're taking death chances every time you pull up and pop out and hop out. You know what I'm saying? And lay up. You're rolling the dice. You're rolling the motherfucking death dice. You're rolling the dice with the Grim Reaper, nigga. You got banks stopped up against the Grim Reaper every single time that you take a sexually deviant act where you're gambling your life and your health away. Super facts. So when you start to act like a god again, when you don't allow them to infiltrate consciousness like they infiltrated the golden era of consciousness back in the day and water this culture down with these Hollywood ass niggas, you feel me? With these fugazi ass woke niggas that be trying to act like they down with this, like they could fucking hang with this consciousness, like they are the ones cooking, like they the ones who, you know, like they're the ones that are providing the wave, when in all reality, they're riding the wave. It's a whole different conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's Poseidon and it's the nigga from Point Break. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's either you're riding the wave or you're providing the wave. It's Poseidon and it's Cowabunga. It's a nigga that's trying to catch a wave. We're not here catching the wave, nigga. We're providing the wave. We've been providing the wave, but we'll talk about that another time. But this article is resonating with me because it was written in the 50s and it's showing you how shit is really all being planned and how things are at play today. It said in the South, it's more prevalent. Look, B, I went to the South. I went to Atlanta for one day the other day. I did it the super duper thugged out way. I took the China bus. My niggas, you understand? I was rolling with China. 16 hours one way, 16 hours the other way. I was on a China bus when a blood moon came in on my way back to New York. But I was charged the fuck up because I went and did a lecture the day before the blood moon inside of a sacred temple in Atlanta. surrounded by all of the orishas. It was a monumental display. It was almost like a spirit mounted me, and I just tapped I was strapped in. You know what I mean? I tapped in, and I was able to deliver a message from a higher being. So I was charged up on the way home. One of the benefits that I like to do when I travel versus take a quick trip, when I take a long trip, it allows me to do what? Reflect, get my mind right, focus, level up. You know what I mean? Because I have so much on my shoulders, so much on my plate, so much in my mind. You know what I mean? So many things in front of me, so many things around me, so many things behind me that are trying to catch up and get a nigga. It's so much. You have no idea what it is to live in the mind of Mr. fucking Red Pill. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm sure that I don't know what it is to live in your mind. I'm not here comparing minds. Please, Kiki, don't get in your feelings. Fifi, relax, put the ice cream down. So you gotta remember, man, this shit is like, you know, this is not child's play. I'm fully aware of my role in history, my role in just overall what I represent, who I represent, and where I'm going and where I'm not going. So that shit takes a lot of thought sometimes. So what better time to prepare for the blood moon but to be on the road for 16 hours? You know what I mean? Riding through I-95, riding through the trails, the sacred trails that my ancestors used to ride through when they were riding through the South, when they were moving through the motherfucking states, when they were moving through the swamps of Florida, when they were moving through the forests of Georgia, when they were moving through the tropics of Florida, of the land of flowers, when they were moving through the mountains of North Carolina, the Allegheny Mountains, all of that. You know what I mean? That's all my DNA. So when I'm riding through, I'm picking up all of that energy. I'm tapping in. I'm writing. I know how spiritual it is because my writer's block will ease up, and then information and lyrics will just start pouring out like manna. So here I am. I'm in my bag and whatnot. I'm tapping in. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm fighting the elements. The bathroom is broken. It smells like 3 people died in that shit. The nigga behind me, he's wild weird on some pedophile mental health type shit. You know what I mean? The woman behind me, you know, she's in her elder years, but you know, I'm not gonna say anything about it. Let's just say that drugs kill. You know what I'm saying? Just say no. So I got a lot of shit that I'm dealing with. And my back hurts because who the fuck could sit still for all of that? My knees hurt. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I'm like, damn, I should have been on a plane, but I was content. I was cool. You know, but I was noticing something, y'all. As I traveled through the South, I was really peeping something because one of the things I do is I take an assessment. I'm an observer. They got our people in the South, man. Them people, whoever the fuck is out here trying to do something against our people, whether it's higher principalities or Beelzebub or whatever, they got a lot of our people under spells in the South, and I could see it. And it's dealing with the food that I'm looking at. I could see auras. I'm looking at the quality of the skin. I'm looking in the eyes, how lost that. Look, these niggas be pulling up in KKK gas stations. The China bus, them niggas be pulling up in alt-right hangout, like motherfucking you know how niggas be in front of the grocery store in the hood selling their little packs and whatnot. They be pulling up to where they got hunters and shit just chilling by the gas station, like mad KKK looking cracker, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not doing that no more, bro. I can't do that because I just seen The Purge the other day. Like, I'm on point. They making it too easy, bro. They making it too easy. They be put them in. I go in the rest stop. These niggas is playing On the Road Again. They playing like mixtapes for country music. You know what I'm saying? These are like gangster country music, KKK rap. I'm hearing this shit. These niggas is chewing like backwood tobacco. How can I help you there, boy? I'm like, I'm not a boy. They're like, that's an interesting bracelet you got on right there. Listen, listen, dude. This is not a bracelet. This is a warrior cuff, cocksucker. Women wear bracelets. Are you implying that I'm a woman? These are cuffs. Not only are these cuffs, these are warrior cuffs. Oh, are you a warrior? Yeah, I'm out here fighting white folk. Like, these rest stops, man, pay attention to that. They're making black people very vulnerable because, you know, I'm war minded. I'm Scorpio, so we could get into our war bag real quick. You niggas is out here playing Fortnite, and y'all the best killers of the world in the virtual world. So walk with me. If I wanted to trap a group of people, if I wanted to run down and score points on a group of people, I would lay in a cut and wait for them to get brought to me. And then I would draw down on them. I'm just saying it like that. So the vulnerability of black people who be at 5 a.m. half asleep going to Dunkin' Donuts in fucking, in Hangeniggerburg, South Carolina, just be on point. Because the Chinese, man, they don't give a fuck about us. They be trying to crash the bus on purpose any damn way anyway. But there's something going on with it ties into what I want to talk about is right after this with Trayvon. There's something on our people, y'all. And I'm just observing. Like I said, you ain't gonna get I'm not gonna bust into no sermon or whatnot. I'm just an observer. I'm observing that our people are in a real subservient type of docile type of, you know what I mean? Like they just look defeated and shit. Like they just look, and that's not everywhere. I'm not generalizing because when I went to the shit, I saw beautiful black people doing big things, holding their head up high, you know what I mean? Riding clean, you know what I mean? People with whatever. But on them rest stops coming through the South, and this is not big city, I'm going to little town America. Little town America, they have black folk looking like them niggas might have been living on plantations. Like that's how subservient and how, yes sir, like they look real, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I know that we got to get into these places where some of our people don't know anything but what they're surrounded by. They don't know nothing about no YouTube. They don't know nothing about no consciousness. They only know what the TV showed them, what the internet shows them, and what their surrounding community shows them. And they may be in places where, you know, they don't see themselves as great. They don't see themselves as more than just the 80s versions of what Negroes supposed to be, or the 70s, or the slave narrative, the roots, the help. These niggas look like extras from the help. That's what it was. Yeah. They look like they could have been in the Roots reboot. They look like they could have been extras at Butler. You know what I mean? You ever been to a town and the shit looks so back in times that people just looking like the extras from the Butler? Like you like, yo, where Benson at? Like, you know, it's just a town of Bensons. Like, we got to do better, bro. We got to do better, you know, because those groups of people are being programmed to be very dangerous, not only to themselves, but to other black people, because those are the agents. Those turn into the saboteurs. Those turn into the active coons. Those are the coon kamikaze type of niggas that would destroy everything just for the cause of coonery. So this is a spell. Go and do the research on the massacre of Wilmington, North Carolina. The massacre of Wilmington, North Carolina was the only successful coup on the soil of America on record. I didn't make this. This is not what I'm saying. This is what they have in their history books. That is the most, that's a successful coup. Why? Because the government that took over as a result of that coup is still in power. What government might that be, Red Pill? They call it, in their terminology, the Solid South. The Solid South. And what the Solid South is all of these southern states who are Confederates or the offspring of the Confederates. Okay? Those are the groups who came together once Wilmington, North Carolina, which was a black, prosperous city. It was a town that was one of the most prosperous towns. It was a Black Wall Street of the Carolinas. They committed a massacre in 1898. They committed a massacre in that city. They wiped them out, and then they took over the government. They took over the government. They took over their government by replacing their magistrates. They took over the courthouses at first, and then they committed a massacre. They murdered multiple people, burned down the newspapers and all of that, the Black-owned newspapers, the media and whatnot, chased out all of the prominent Negroes, hung a whole bunch of them, burnt a whole bunch of them, shot a whole bunch of them, rape and pillage, and all of these things. As a result of that coup, which you know as white people who control the South, that was when they began to. That was the coup that signified them taking over, because after Wilmington fell, that's when the rest of the South began to fall by these terroristic organizations of what is known as the Solid South. The Solid South, aka the Invisible Empire, aka the KKK, the Klan, the fraternal orders of the invisible ones that you don't see, but they're all around you niggas, because they're playing they're Fortniting you niggas. They're playing clandestine. They have the cloak on, but there's a cloak and a dagger. The cloak is they're around you niggas playing Becky games with you and all of this fake, oh, we are the world type thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or they got cornrows and you know what I'm talking about? Like, they're playing that role. They're playing the avatar. They're playing the Negro persona. They're playing to the Negro's desires. They're twerking Iggy Azalea with buckets of chicken. They're twerking for you. They're doing what they know that your lower self aspect wants. You know what I mean? And they're feeding that aspect of self and whatnot. But underneath it all, they are the white girl at the end of Get Out. It's going to take you niggas to see all the way to the end of the movie that they'll switch on you like this. Kiki, do you love me? No. Becky, do you love me? And then she'll be like, no, nigga, I don't. Right at the end. Boop, movie over. Nigga, you come back and do this again and learn again, because you keep coming back, because you got to keep learning. You keep burning. You keep hanging. You keep getting your nuts chopped off. You keep falling into this trap from time after time, time after time, time after time. You keep coming back. And look at you niggas. Now you're out here. You know what I mean? The swirl is on fleek. And you keep coming back, repeating it, not realizing that that's the movie ends the same every movie theater that you go to, everywhere that you go to. So that goes into what I was going to talk about with Trayvon Martin. A very powerful documentary has been released by Sean Carter, aka Jehovah, aka Iceberg Slim, aka Jay-Z. I'm just saying all his names, so if there's old people watching this who don't know who I'm talking about, nigga, I'm talking about S. Carter. Jay-Z, who released, let's do a little bit of knowledge on this. Jay-Z, who released the Khalif Browder story, right? Remember, y'all gotta allow me to have a quick smoke break. Don't judge me. We're in the throes of this moon. There's a lot of shit going on right now. Shout out to Houston. I'll be in Houston by the middle of the week, and I'll be there for the end of the week. There's a lot of shit going on in everybody's lives. This moon was a motherfucker. So I need a smoke break, okay? I'm not gonna get all in my personal shit right now, but we're gonna smoke and talk. And I'm gonna get back to this article in a minute right here, because there's so many gems inside of it. There's so much information. We have to begin to identify where these, it's not one thing to react to shit that's happening. We have to do the digging and the research. We got to figure this out. We got to find out where these curses are coming from. One of the curses that are affecting the youth of today, black men of today, but definitely the black youth of today, is the curse that was committed with Trayvon Martin's murder. Now, we are now going to be able to see a 6-part miniseries that Jay-Z put together or financed or produced. Him and what is known as the Weinstein Company had a film deal. That film deal was a 20 film deal for $20 million or $200 million. Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein were doing business together under the Weinstein Company in a Rockefeller venture where Jay-Z was being financed and distributed by one of the biggest companies in Hollywood, the Weinstein Company. Harvey Weinstein, the pervert and the sexual deviant and the piece of shit and the fucking monster and the beast and the savage that he is, was a humongous power player. He was like Thanos in Hollywood to some people. The first project that Jay-Z released with the Weinsteins and Harvey Weinstein under this imprint. Go and look it up. I'm not telling you, no, this ain't no speculation. This is all facts. The first project that he came out with was the Kalief Browder story. Do you remember if anybody saw Time, the Kalief Browder story, then you would know that the brother did it. Whoever put together that documentary did a very good job. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that they stressed enough of the, you know, the stuff like Michelle Alexander gets into with her thing about the 13 and all of that with the 13th Amendment. I don't think Jay-Z, you know, even took enough credit or has, you know, kind of like took responsibility for the fact that a lot of the Kalief Browders of my generation, you know what I mean, were influenced by not just Jay-Z, but the idea of, you know, being a big Willie, the idea of being a kingpin, the idea of just getting it by selling crack. Like that was, you know, that was a lot of people's aspiration. You know what I'm saying? That was something that they aspired to be. And Jay-Z he scored the soundtrack to many of those movies. Facts, right? Super facts. So the Kalief Browder story is one story of millions of stories, but he's the Pied Piper in the motherfucking other horror stories. He's Freddy Krueger in a lot of niggas' nightmares because it was his message. Remember, Freddy Krueger in your nightmares appears as an entity or a demon that's telling you to do shit, that's even killing you in your dreams. Nigga, that's the lyrics that you were listening to from that ratchet music. That's that motherfucker from the porn that you were watching right before you go to sleep. That's the entity from that shit. That's the motherfucking deity from you watching Jigsaw in Saw 1, 2, 3. You binging on Saw and the motherfucking all of the demon movies, Rob Zombie and all of that. Yeah, that be that shit. That's what that be. You know what I'm saying? Like, you niggas listening to DMX Marathon, then you go to sleep and have a fucking demon visit you and be like, oh, beloved, you're eating a fucking sirloin steak of an animal that basically got scissored in half. You know what I mean? The shit got straight Al-Qaeda. You know what I mean? And you're wondering why you're on fucking Elm Street all of the time with Freddy and them. Freddy's dead. You know what I'm saying? But you bring a lot of dead shit into your cipher. You bring a lot of dead shit into your temple. I'm gonna say we, because I'm not gonna get all religious and shit. You know what I mean? That's me too. You know what I mean? I'm hashtag me too. You know, we allow all of these negative vibrations and frequencies and transmissions and downloads. You feel me? All of these things invade our sacred space. So what I'm saying is we have to be extremely mindful of the fact that, you know, we're doing a lot of shit to ourselves. But not only are we doing things to ourselves, we're doing shit to ourselves and we don't understand what it is that we're doing. So we're not learning from our mistakes. So we're doomed to repeat them. It's one thing to do some goofy shit. But it's another thing to keep doing that same goofy shit and getting goofier. You niggas are like Goofy the sequel. You know what I'm saying? You're goofy live action movie ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? You took Goofy out of the animation. You're live action Goofy. You're just getting goofier by the day. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. You're a walking Walt Disney. You know what I mean? So, no, beloveds. That's not what we're here to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about these guys, but it's not what we do, bro. So, Jay-Z did an honorable thing, right? He even has what is known as, he has his version of Hidden Colors. The next documentary that he is poised to do after this documentary, because this Trayvon Martin documentary is going to establish Jay-Z as a filmmaker, as a producer, because he's 2 for 2, right? He's going to be a power player when it comes to documentaries and films and things of that nature, and to tell a story about Black America or Black Americans in a way that wasn't being told before. Take my word for that. You could take that to the bank, and that's not me caping for him. Please, Kiki, once again, don't get in your feelings. This is me, the decoder, the master decoder. Let me go. You want me to go get my award? And I'm just the observer, but I'm a correspondent. I'm here for the culture. Yeah, you know, and I'm just saying that's what's being done in front of us. So he's opening up, or he's this Trayvon Martin story, because of the importance that I've always said, and you're going to get to see it. I'm so grateful that the family is going to get to go see it today, because they didn't, the people probably have glossed over that case. People have probably not realized the impact of what that case means. And you can't, yo, fuck that. That case didn't do nothing for me. Family, you're living in the reverberations of the case. You're living in the reality or the aftermath of that ritual. So you could carry on, nigga. You could go ahead and be Gucci and you know, eat sushi and count your Lucci, and not, you know, it doesn't have to affect you. You know what I mean? You are absolutely correct. But it is a reality that exists at the end of the day. And that's all that I'm pointing out. So I did not see the documentary as of yet. So I'm not even up here doing a review of it. It's in 6 parts. I'm going to allow the 6 parts to come out. But guess where I'm at? I'm out here collecting data. I went on Twitter and clicked on a hashtag for the Trayvon Martin story, and then clicked on latest so I could read the comments, right? Or I could read people's tweets and whatnot, so I could get a gauge of some of the sentiments that people are having about the documentary. But I've already heard that the documentary was monumental all the way back when I put up the information about George Zimmerman being arrested. George Zimmerman, as a result of this project right here, because George Zimmerman was threatening the people who were being interviewed on the project. He got arrested for terroristic threats, and he threatened the life of Jay-Z. He said that back in the days, he would kidnap Jay-Z and feed him to crocodiles, like they did our ancestors. He said some crazy shit like that. So that lyric that Jay-Z spit at in the motherfucking Drake song, where he was talking about y'all killed XXXX Tentacion in Florida, but y'all let Zimmerman live, that the streets is dead, which is something that I said all the way back in 2012. It didn't take no time for me to realize, hold on, I even put a meme out there, and I put all of the Florida rappers, and I said it is impossible that you can call yourself a goon or a goblin or any kind of savage and not know the importance of not sliding, you know what I'm talking about, of not riding for this one right here. You could let anything other pass. You had to slide on this, slime. You were supposed to slime. You were supposed to slither slime on that one right there. That one was not allowed. That one was not supposed to, he was not supposed to walk. So it's not, you could be gangster all day on wax. The universe has a way of testing niggas' testicular fortitude, the culture, nigga. And the niggas been getting tested since that time, and been catching L's. Niggas been catching L's. More L's than a Louis bag, bro. You know what I'm talking about? More L's than a Louis bag. You know what I mean? They've been catching a lot of L's. They've been testing the will of Black America or Black men, and niggas been coming up short. If Zimmerman would have got his shit, his just due the week of, the day of, the night of, the month of, we would be having a completely different conversation. This is warfare. It's you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it in the series how this is warfare on different levels. Remember, war starts here first. Ideas and concepts. There's an intellectual war. There's a cultural war and an intellectual war being waged, taking place in front of you right now. I'm engaged in intellectual warfare of the highest level beyond government clearance every time I speak. Why? Because of what I'm doing to the matrix. Because I understand because I understand I understand what I'm up against. I'm only up against falsehoods. I'm only up against the illusion. I'm only up against the perception of the mirage or the illusion or the quote unquote lie or the veil that they got pulled over our people's eyes. So I'm just here cleaning the motherfucking windows. You dig what I'm saying? I'm lifting the veil. I'm unplugging you from the matrix. Like I've said before, my name is Philip. Felipe if you're French. I'm Petit Philippe, all right? That's my name. Call me that when you see me in France. Bonjour. But my name is Philippe. Felipe if you're Spanish, okay? Felipe if you're spicy in Spanish. But it's Philip. And Philip is Phi. And Phi is the fire, okay? But not only is Phi the fire, Phi is philosophy. Phi is philanthropy. You know what I'm talking about? The fire is red. And then LLIP. Okay? Why did they do LIP? Everybody has LIP. You know what I mean? There's LLIP. And when you kindly flip that around, Vanna White or Vanna Black, that says pill. So this shit is logged into my name. Okay? My avatar is in my name. My shit came pre-packaged. All I had to do was break the code and then sniff it in. I broke the seal and then I sniffed it. Okay? Made 100,000, then I freaked it. So all I had to do was tap into, and that's what I'll keep. It's not about me. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do about you and us and everybody who's out here searching for themselves within. How can I search inside of you? Huh? What canal do you want me to search in? How can I search inside of you? You know what I mean? The only thing that I can search inside of you for is the diamonds and the gems that exist inside of you. I pull them out of you. Do you know the magic of black magic? Do you know the magic of being asked questions by somebody who knows how to pull certain answers out of you? Remember, you only can discover, you get to discover the genius of who you are, or you get to demonstrate who you are by having other people mind your mind or ask you the right questions, and that way you can channel or you could bring about the right answers. It's shit that I didn't even think I had answers for that I be answering. I'm like, damn, a nigga didn't know that he had an answer for that. But when you're getting your mind, then you could spit gems. Hopefully they're not pitching pearls to swine, because your boy don't eat the meat. I don't do the pig. You know what I'm talking about? I'm around a lot of Spanish people. They like the pearls. I mean, they like the swine. So maybe they taking this shit and they wearing it like pearls. But the people that I come across every day, they got diamond teeth, nigga. They're shining like fucking diamonds. Niggas is pulling up with full diamond grills. Figuratively and literally, because they're taking the cloth. They're taking the cloth talk. You know what I mean? They're letting the plug walk. You know what I'm talking about? And they're letting that shit make them who the fuck they supposed to be. And that's great. Great people. Wonderful people. The gods that they said that they are. People are just living out their destiny. They're being the I am. Right? Taking advantage of the windows of opportunity that open up to them. You know what I mean? Tapping into the right. Hold on. tapping into the wave, being creative, right? Like the people that are making the music, the soundtracks, the Cambadas of the world, right? The riches of the world, the AAs of the world, you know, the people that are making the music, brick the foundations of the world, the Cyrocs of the world, even all the way up to the mumble rappers. Because don't ever think that I don't know what to do with mumble rap, or I'm not that much of a master that I can't transmute a nigga mumbling and talking about getting money, and I don't know how to put that in a pot so I could get some money. No, I know how to use that shit. You know what I'm talking about? I used to ride around Atlanta. I remember going to Atlanta in 2007. My son was just born. When I say I was fucked up, my nigga, when I say I didn't have no money, my pockets was on tap. You know what I mean? Because the birth of my child, that was a windstorm. It was so many things that I didn't anticipate that, you know, I was just, you know, I was learning. But I was at my mother's house, Mama Pill's crib, and I hit my dude Ant, my nigga, shout out to Entourage. He came and picked me up. That nigga was playing some Shorty Low. We had some DVDs because that's when he had like the bootleg movies and whatnot. Nigga, we went to some barbershops up and down Atlanta with them DVDs, and I was treating that shit like it was selling, like that shit was Molly Percocet. Okay, I was selling them DVDs like they was Molly Percocet, and you know how I was motivated, listening to Shorty Low, and niggas talk about get it. It's a mantra. It's mantra music. The mumble rap, the shit Little Baby and them is doing, Moneybag Yo's of the world. I don't like the clones. You know, I've always talked to y'all about that. I'm just a person who likes the original. I'm about source. I don't like niggas that are clones of other niggas. Like, that's when it gets disgusting. There's 8,000 lils and whatnot. But amongst the 8,000 lils, there may be one ill lil. You know what I mean? There might be a few ill lils. But the niggas who are copying them, and they're not original, and they're not bringing you know, they're not bringing creativity to the table. Those are the people who create bad music, in my humble opinion. They're diluting the powerful impact of the of the original source. Remember, everything gets duplicated, everything gets Xerox, everything gets watered down. You know what they talk about with our people? Yo, don't tell niggas about shit, because what? They'll depreciate it. They'll water the shit down. They'll take the value away from it. When too many people is doing something like hip hop. When before Biggie and Pac died, niggas did not think that they could rap. Like, niggas did not have the audacity to say that I'm a rapper. I don't know if y'all know that. Everybody wasn't a rapper before Biggie and Pac died. After they died, it lowered the bar. It's almost like the walls fell. Everybody started becoming rappers. The people who couldn't rap had the audacity to start pressing up albums, right? Now, fast forward to today, something that was seen as a rarity because everybody wasn't a rapper. So if you rapped, you were special. You were seen as somebody who was completely, you were an anomaly. You have value because you were one of a kind. Fast forward to today, you're not one of a kind anymore. You have been cloned. You have been duplicated. You have been expounded upon to the place where people are trying to create something new so they could reverberate on a higher frequency that they could tap in. You feel me? So, you know, that's why we're doing the music that we're doing. That's why we're going to do things totally different. That's why we're going to change what is known as the game. That's a fact. You dig what I'm saying? We're already doing it. It's already been done. Hold up. Wait a minute. It's already been done. The world has changed as a result of people who I sat down and broke bread and sat at tables and came up, grew up, watching them teach barefooted, watching Dr. Sabi when I was 5 years old teach barefoot in front of a group of people, watching, you know what I mean? Just watching people's lives change. Knowing that Dr. Phil Valentine has touched millions of people around the world. being right there present on 125th Street as history took place over more than a decade. I have such a treasury of information and memories and things that I've seen. Being able to still stand out there and, 12 or 13 years later, there's so many people who have came and gone and went and just people I forgot people. It's so many people, but here we stand, still doing things, still relevant, still breaking down, still decoding, still on a wave, even more wavier than before. How about that? Your most ratchet artist. No, let me name woke artists. There was a time where if I said these names and said that they would be woke, you would laugh at me. You would call me pseudo. You would say, what are you talking about? What are they smoking? You see how those twins be reaching? Jay-Z is a woke artist. He's considered a woke artist, right? Meek Mill is transitioning to be a woke artist. T.I. put out a project as a woke artist. Kendrick Lamar, in a degree, is a woke. Yeah, he's almost become the archetype. He's gonna find he's being developed as the mold of the woke artist. J. Cole is a woke artist. Nasir Jones is a woke artist. And I'm not here celebrating saying, oh, they woke artists. I'm saying that the woke marketplace, the woke shit is a marketplace. We talked about this before. These niggas have come with spoons and forks to eat. Woke is a marketplace. Woke is what civil rights was back then. Like, woke is the commercialization, capitalization, marketplace of what consciousness and the culture and other things have now become by way of Trayvon Martin, that because of the case and the fact that it launched Black Lives Matter, and it did what? It created a whole woke movement. The woke movement and this whole stay woke thing, you're going to see. It's not what I'm saying, it's how they're writing history. They're going to say it started with this Trayvon ritual. I call it the Trayvon factor. Go and Google the Trayvon factor 1, 2, and 3. It's on Blog Talk Radio. You could put KTL Radio. You could put Trayvon Factor 1, 2, and 3 in Google and go and listen to us. We spoke this up in 2013, 2014. We have 3 parts. Epic. And we talk about this case in its entirety. And we break down the ritual that has taken place. The fact that it happened at the All-Star game during the break. Orlando Magic 2012, February, the beginning of 2012. It was a 2012 paradigm shifting event. It put black people in their feelings. Key. Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. Purge. You understand? Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. They've been at war with that archetype. They've been terrorizing the youth and killing them ever since. Not to say that that wasn't happening before. Please don't get it fucked up. But we're talking about cycles, and we're talking about rituals, and we're talking about people taking one ritual and adding on to it with other rituals. Slavery did not result from prejudice and attitudes of racial superiority. But conversely, slavery was the basic factor in perpetuating the myth of white supremacy and colored inferiority. Attitudes of inferiority of the Negro were developed among whites and among Negroes themselves by rationalizations to justify the imposition of slavery upon them. Richmond, in his treatise, The Color Problem, relates that. Go and read The Color Problem by Anthony Richmond. Okay, that's required reading. The Colored Problem. Biologists and theologists lent the weight of their authority in support of the institution of Negro slavery. The very fact that they did so suggests that they felt its obvious inhumanity required justification. Learned treatises were written to prove the slave trade was carried on according to the humane principles and that was not of hardly mattered, since the Negro was not really a human being after all. Okay? What did the Mike Brown story say? What is the Trayvon Martin story saying to you? What are the subtleties? That their law does not see you as human. That their society does not have to treat you as an equal, as human, based off of their laws that they've written that protect them. Stand your ground. All of this shit that they got. You understand what I'm saying? Make America great again. You know, that's what you're seeing. It was an early theory that slavery was a civilizing force. Enslavement of the infidel was justified in order to make him a Christian. Listen to that again. Enslavement of the infidel was justified in order to make him a Christian. When the purpose has resulted in conversion, his slavery ceased, and with Christianity came freedom. If Christianity and baptism were rewarded with freedom, then the Negro slave would readily receive it and become free. They were soon to learn, however, that the freedom of this Christianity, bound in chains of economic exploitation in America, was not to be received on earth, but to be received only in bright mansions above, on conditions of obedience and service to their enslavers. Oh, to their masters. In 1607, the Assembly passed a law which explained that baptism doth not alter the condition of the person as to bondage or freedom. Okay, you niggas out here. So they've implemented these Christian codes. They've implemented conversion techniques. They've implemented slavery on our people, not by way of just chattel slavery. You could become a Christian now. You're just going to be another kind of slave by another name. So, like they said in the movie 13, they'll enslave a majority of black bodies with these unjust laws and this unjust system. They were created under unjust conditions, of course, in an unjust social structure, and then we'll just begin to monetize these black bodies because, you know, that's what the system does. That's what the system does. They'll monetize your corpse. The corporations will monetize you until you become a corp. You know what I mean? The prison complex industries will monetize your bonds and your stocks and your corpse inside of their warehouses, where they basically cut a check for you every day of your existence in bondage. This shit is crazy. So on the flip side of that, they will fund and they will basically give billions of dollars into an industry, and they'll give billions of dollars to artists, and they'll give billions of dollars to labels, and they'll fund billions of dollars into movements that will perpetuate the same black children who are listening to that music and following those trends and paying attention to those movies that they're putting out there, and they're, you know, telling children, yo, sell drugs. That's the only way. Crime is the way. You know what I mean? The only thing that you could become is a trapper. The only thing that you become is a dancer. The only thing that you become is a killer or shooter. You know what I mean? The only thing that you could become is a dope boy. So everybody is funding each other. They're working together. This is a plan. This is not something that people are just slipping up, you know, haphazardly falling into. This is a plan that has been implemented since the 1600s, and it switched hands and whatnot, but it didn't switch enough hands to where it fell into our hands. So all of the information that we've been giving you is to disrupt this plan, but this plan is at work. So it's not me personally. It's not, oh, you don't like my white friends, and you know what I mean? Red pill is, these guys don't like our white friends and we can't bring them around. You know, we wanted to invite them to the water polo competitions. Like, You know what I'm talking about? Like, let me cook for my people. I'm in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in Hell's Kitchen cooking for my people right now. Those who are on the frequency and we're vibrating and we're part of this celestial family. I'm a galactic being. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not caught up in no goddamn avatars and suits and you know what I mean? And the minimalisms of this whole existence. But what I do know and what I can, you know what I mean? What I can attest to is that there's an assault taking place on the core of, if we're in Zion, nigga, there's somebody drilling in the ceiling right now. That's basically what I'm saying without saying too much. Look, Norton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So we don't got to ask ourselves why things are going so awkward and at the same time magnificent these days. Because like this Trayvon Martin story will show you, for every action, there's a reaction. Shout out to Professor James Small. There's a clip of him going around explaining what he would do to anybody that took a family member of his life, especially his children, his son or his daughter. He said, as a parent, their duty is to sacrifice all freedom and life to avenge anybody who takes your progeny off of this planet. It falls in no one else's hands. That's why they were dragging people out of precincts and things of that nature back in the days and dealing with them right there. So it happens in a hood though. That shit is gang. You hurt my partner, we gonna deal with 5 of your partner. Like, they do it in other places, but I don't know. There are wars being fought on grounds of psychology, on how people perceive institutions, systems, and leaders. They've conquered the hearts and minds of a civilization without firing a bullet. This is talking about media inside of the lecture that we'll be doing, speaking about the media manipulation of the mind and the soul of the black man and woman. Subversive message works through above strategy on a political level and the below strategy on a seemingly grassroots level, based on the creation of a false flag or manufactured incidents that could receive broad public attention. So the Trayvon Martin story was basically put into, it was thrust into the collective consciousness. It was put into them. It was made a hot button story. It took off, right? The manipulation, though, of the story later on down the line, when the talking heads got a hold of it, when Fox News got a hold of it, people attached agendas to it, when people controlled the narrative based off of the talking heads that they brought in to speak for you, that didn't say the shit that you were saying. They was speaking for them. They were speaking for the people that were paying them to speak. So what they're doing is they're working on multiple levels. Like this says, they everything is about deception. But don't for 1 minute think that the woke movement and what's going on in the political parties and what's in all of these things are not connected. The fact that Donald Trump and this rise of this quote unquote Nazi party inside not America, around the world, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of that had to do with a lot of these rituals that these people are involved in and whatnot, right? A subversive group could then use media forming to tell the population the incident is a symbol or related to a social issue. The social issue could then be advocated by controlled news outlets and paid online commentators or by subversive nonprofits. The noise generated by these groups is used by politicians as part of the game to introduce legislation. That's Black Lives Matter in a nutshell. That's the whole game that you saw played in front of you as a result of the Trayvon Martin story. And then it kicked into high gear as a result of the Mike Brown story, because the Mike Brown introduced Black Lives Matter from a Twitter organization, an online organization, a hashtag movement, into the controlled news media, because George Soros bought out a block of news. He bought out a whole segment, 48 hours of nonstop news coverage about the Mike Brown story, and then interjected the colorful characters of Black Lives Matter into the Black America. And then these groups are utilizing social issues to advance other social issues that have nothing whatsoever to do with the first social issues. You dig what I'm saying? There's an agenda at play, and not just through them. There are all kind of offshoots right now that are basically in that arena. So they find self-radicalizing wound collectors that they can bring in, mentor, and isolate, but expedite their radicalization to get them to act out kinetically. When the groups do act out with physical violence, and after there is a public outcry, they then weaponize the outcry and say xenophobia. Part of these issues ties to theories and how ideas and concepts can be introduced into society, and how these concepts can be manipulated as they develop in order to create intended social notions. This concept uses what are known as memetics. It's spelled like memes. MEMETICS. Memetics, a theory of how ideas are introduced and evolve over time to impact a society's culture. That is, control narrative and news outlets are used to frame the perceptions of this reaction to again advance the social agenda. This is all cloth that I'm giving you. These are glasses that you can put on when you watch the Trayvon Martin story. Remember, it's a 6-part series that I didn't see 6 parts, but I promise you, wear those glasses, use that information that I just gave you, and watch that thing objectively. And you're going to see what exactly is being broken down, how they manipulated and how they took something and did what they did. Understand that war is about deception and psychological, and the psyops that are being launched through the media. It's being launched through these social media sites. It's being launched through these subversive groups. It's being launched through these grassroots organizations that are advancing the agenda for not us, not for sovereignty, not for elevation, not for the enlightenment. I don't know what they're doing. You would have to tell me. So we have to be very aware of the fact that we have to focus on what we're doing. Because if you focus on what other people are doing, you're only going to be a part of their movie. You're only going to be a part of their quote unquote spirit cooking ritual. You're only going to be a part of their script. You don't want to be it. You want to write your own script. So that's what we're doing. And that's what we've been doing. And that's what we're going to continue to do. You know what I mean? And that's what this thing represents. So, you know, that, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like the blood moon that just came in, for everybody who has practiced, who took advantage of that window. I took full advantage of that window. I had a monumental experience the whole time. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. Doors are already beginning to open up. You know what I mean? I planted seeds, you know, and, you know, it is what it is. For everybody that was out there doing their thing, doing their work, doing their cleansing, doing their manifestations, doing their visualizations, doing their creations. You could have been doing anything and not even know that it was a blood moon. It's a lot of things that we do unconscious, conscious. So once you find out about it, it just verifies that you're on the frequency, that you know what it is, that you're tapped in, that you're strapped in. You know what I'm saying? Big or not. You know what I mean? That you're strapped in. So when you just do things and you listen to spirit and you listen to your higher self and you're going with, you know, you're moving with purpose, you're gonna be at the right place at the right times. So Houston, I'm gonna be in the building this week. You know what I mean? I'll let you know if there's a pop-up. You know what I'm talking about? Go and follow my Instagram, EL_Filthmore, PHILTHMOOR. See, even in that name is my purpose. Philip Thomas Moreland, Filthmore. You know what I mean? So even in there is, you know, hey, whatever. But EL_Filthmore, that's on Twitter and Instagram. I'm only saying that because when I throw the flyer up, that's the only way to let you know that we're doing something out there. You know what I mean? I'll be with my family, so I'm not gonna be too much on the social media. But you know, we'll link up. All right. And like I said, we'll be in Baltimore August this month. We'll be in Bmore at the hold on, let me pull it up. I don't got it in front of me. I know one day we'll be at Everlasting Life in Capitol Heights. You know what I'm saying? Then the day before that, we're gonna be at a church. I don't know the name of it. Let me get it for you real quick. Y'all all right out there? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Shit. It's late as hell. All right. The Pleasant Hope Baptist Church. That's going to be 219 East 25th Street, Baltimore. The date is August 18th. Pardon me. The date is August 18th. Fear of a Black Planet Part 2. Media, Music, and the Manipulation of the Black Mind. Tickets are $30 in advance, $35 at the door. The doors are opening up at 4 p.m. Okay? At 6 p.m. From 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the event. All right? Ticket locations, you could go to Conscious Heads. The venue location is Pleasant Hope Baptist Church. And I will be preaching up a sermon. All right? Professor Griff, Red Pill, and Blue Pill. If you've never seen us speak, if you've never seen us teach and you just watch these videos, do yourself the justice and see us in person. Like this is a screen that's separating the REE and the REAL. You know what I'm talking about? Like you don't get to this is not real. You know what I mean? Seeing us in the real world, that's real. So pull up. If you've seen us speak before, you already know what it is. So pull up. Then the next day, August 19th, The Enemy Decoded, The Preparation for Victory, Professor Griff, Red Pill, Blue Pill, at the Everlasting Life. This is going to be, let me give you the address. 9185 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights. 9185 Central Avenue, Capitol Heights. All right. You might be able to see the flyer after this video. But with that being said, shout out to all of my Patreons. Salute to all of my Patreons. Salute to all of my supporters. You know what I mean? Salute to all of the subscribers. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Salute to all of our members. Salute to all of the family. Salute to all of the network. Salute to all of the community. Salute to all of the nation. Salute to all of my niggas. My nagas, my neguses, my queens, my goddesses, my empresses, my young gods, the young Herus, the young star seeds, everybody. You know, this is a beautiful time, a wonderful time, a monumental time. You were chosen to do beautiful, magnificent, humongous things. So just do it. Nike sign, Nike swoosh. Just do it. You know what I mean? Nobody's stopping you but you. You know what I mean? And if you're going to do something with us and you're going to promise, just be about your business. You know what I mean? Just do it. Let's get it done. All right? But look out for more announcements. You know what I mean? More fire. And we'll get up. Peace.
Tales, different shrooms, cheap reapers, sending smoke signals like Indians, light being sentients. Let's be abundantly clear. We stunt in this year, eclipse in these